Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Starkey Farmstead. So today, our topic we're going to be discussing is how are you feeding your animals? How are you feeding your dogs? All right, go play. Good boy. All right, guys. So a lot of you know that Hammer is our 3.5-year-old King Shepherd. All right. Recently, I had to take him to the vet. First time in his life, this dog actually had to be seen by the vet. Now, when he was puppy, he had gotten tapeworms, so I had to go for that. During COVID, the vet didn't actually see him. The medicine almost killed him. And at that point, I decided there had to be a better way to take care of my dogs. So I began researching and doing a lot of prepping for how to feed him naturally and treat illnesses organically, okay? Now, some people are not going to agree with me on some of the things that I say, but I ask that you watch through the video and you just start asking yourself some questions. So the first question is, how often are you having to take your beloved pet or livestock guardian to the vet, and what for? All right, so I want you to think about that for a second. What are the health problems that you're facing with your animal? Now, let me make a statement I think everybody on here can agree with. Food is medicine. Food is medicine. Healthy food gives your body what it needs to stay healthy. Healthy soil produces healthy food. And when you eat healthy, you feel better. It's the same way with our animals. Hi, baby. Hi, kitty. So this is the born kitty that Stephen rescued, and she is now on a part dry, part raw food. Cats are a little different, so I need to do a little more research for her on getting her to a fully raw diet, but she is half and half, dry food, kibbles, and half raw meat. And she's super duper healthy, never been to a vet yet. Now, the reason I bring this topic up, hey Miss Chris, is because I want you guys to understand that you can feed your dogs better, reduce your vet bills, and still not break the bank. What do I mean? All right, so we got an Argentina Dogo puppy. We decided when we got him, he got car sick on the way to us and then on the way home several times. He also got car sick the next day. We fed him raw from the minute that we got him. The second day that we had him, 24 hours after we had him, he was still vomiting up undigested dog food, like kibbles. I'm using kibbles in a broad dog food, dry dog food way. So this puppy was still having undigested dog food that looked like dog food, shaped like it, colored like it in his tummy. Okay, so Stephen and I were talking, and we were gonna do, like we did with Hammer, 50-50. 50% dry food, 50% raw. We changed our minds when we saw the undigested food coming out of this puppy, but also because of his recent illness, all right? I honestly feel like when I got injured in January and he went on almost 90% dry dog food at the end of January all the way through March, that it played a part in him getting ill. I believe it in the deepest parts of my heart. Because for the last 2 days, he's been 100% on raw. His balance, the antibiotics and steroids didn't make the balance that much better. I mean, he acted like he felt a little better, but he would still kind of lose his balance when he turned his head or he stood up on his back legs to exercise. He would just kind of fall. And I'm like, wow, like, you know, we're on antibiotics and medication now for several days, and he's not getting better the way I thought he would. But being on the raw food diet for the past 48 hours, everything about him has changed. His energy levels, back up, guys. Behavior, back up. He's really coming around, and we're now off the antibiotics and the steroids. So my point of this video is to tell you that you can raise your animal without spending a ton of money in bagged feed and vet bills, and still give your animal the best life that it can have. Now, all of you at this point probably know that my dogs are not on a prescription heartworm medication. None of them. Neither is the cat. Every domesticated animal, the dogs and the cat, on our property, we treat them with an old-timey iodine remedy for heartworms. Now, I am not a vet. I'm not a vet tech. And I do this for my animals. I'm not telling you that you should do it for yours. What I am telling you is that 90% of heartworm medications are actually a derivative of iodine. But they also add in toxins and poisons to kill the heartworm. In all actuality, it never kills the heartworm. It keeps it in the juvenile stage so it doesn't become an adult and then block up the heart valves and the arteries. Okay, that's how that actually works. So you're giving your animal a medication so that they will be heartworm negative, but they technically have heartworms. So there are ways that you can treat your animal, feed your animal, and medicate your animal naturally that will do the same thing. It will keep the heartworms from becoming adults. Because when Hammer went to the vet at 3.5 years old for his very first checkup, the vet was shocked. He was like, your dog is in excellent condition. Heart sounds great, lungs sound great, and this man knew that I was not giving my dog in Southeast Louisiana, mosquito territory, not giving my dog heartworm medication, over-the-counter heartworm medication. I do also some different herbs. I get into that in another video. But what I'm telling you is you can treat your animals in ways that are a little different and still do an amazing job, because my German Shepherd does not have adult heartworms, yet he has never once in his life taken a heartworm pill, and he sleeps outside with the livestock. So I don't do anything to protect him from the mosquitoes that swarm us here in Southeast Louisiana 9 months out of the year. Yet he doesn't have adult heartworms. Okay? With the puppy, I will do the same thing. Guys, bagged food, when they say like animal proteins or fat, it can be fat from grease, from a restaurant. It could be from euthanized animals. It could be from anything. They're very good at hiding what they're putting in your dog's food. Do y'all remember several years ago when kids with ADHD, when it first came out, they realized that there were specific food coloring dyes that are banned in Eastern European countries? These things were banned, all right, because they noticed that the kids, it was actually causing ADHD and ADD in these children, like this one specific red dye and this one specific yellow dye. Those dyes are found in your dog's food. So a lot of people have behavioral or emotional problems with their dogs, and it is literally coming from the dyes in the food. The preservatives that they use, 2 of them, one is like BHT and I can't remember what the other one is called, but they have been known to cause cancer in rats. Like, they know this. In fact, they're starting to ban that preservative for human food, yet they have no issues with putting it in your beloved pet's food. So what I'm trying to say to you is, it is expensive to be on a 100% raw food diet for your dogs. It is expensive. But if you own a farm or homestead or farmstead or even a backyard, you could essentially raise, you get you 1 buck, 2 rabbits, and you dedicate 1 rabbit, and all of her kits that she has that year will be used to feed your dogs, okay? They can have the raw bone, the intestines, they could even have the fur. We don't give it to them because we just don't want to have any kind of digestive problem. Like, I've not gotten that comfortable with the raw food that I'm willing to feed feathers or fur. But yesterday I took a bitty that probably stood about this tall, a couple of ounces. I took its head off, took its feet off, I took its feathers off. I gave the head and feet to Hammer, and I gave the entire body to the 10-week-old Dogo puppy. He had no problem eating through the bone, the connective tissue, the organs. He had no issue with it, no issue at all. So I already raised chickens and rabbits here. Now, rabbit meat is extremely low in fat, so they couldn't survive just off of rabbit meat, okay? So I will have to dedicate one of my does to growing out her babies for my dogs. Every kit that she has will go just to feeding the dogs and the cat. I will incubate and hatch eggs, and every rooster that I get, I will now butcher out to feed the dogs. Okay, I'm talking feet, heads, beaks, the whole 9 yards, everything. Everything is going to feed the dogs. They can have some organic vegetables out of the garden. It's not going to hurt them. It's actually kind of good for them. But I'm going to stay away from grains like corn, wheat, barley. A lot of you have dogs with skin allergies. Guys, they're allergic to all of those grains. They don't need them. They're not human, okay? Now understand that if you're gonna do a little bit of dry bagged dog food plus the raw diet. Don't do what I did and mix it together. Because what we found was our boys would literally go on a starvation diet if you tried to just give them dry dog food. They were not having that nonsense. They wanted their raw food mixed in. And what I learned was that to digest the raw dog food, their stomachs are more acidic than ours. So they can digest that raw dog food like that. But if you mix it with dry dog food, like a kibble, you're causing the stomach to go back and forth because that acidic stomach can't really digest that dry dog food, which is another reason so many people have dogs that are either obese or underweight. I mean, like most of it just comes back out. But when you raw food diet feed, their poop is greatly diminished. Like it's like breastfeeding a baby. When you ever seen a breastfed baby poop, it's soft, runny, and not near as much as they're ingesting. Compared to a formula-fed baby that has a hard, big poop that gets, constipated, has a lot of gas, has a lot of digestive problems, because their little bodies, no matter how they change the formula, nothing beats mother's milk. No matter what these dry dog food companies are going to try to tell you, nothing is going to beat the way they were genetically made to eat. Guys, your dogs come from wolves. They're genetically kin to a wolf, like so very close. Just because it's been called domesticated doesn't mean that its stomach has changed, okay? They need what they need to grow. The next point I want to make, and I'm going to wrap this video up. Hammer, not feeling well, was 81 pounds. Feeling well, he's close to 90, okay? Our Dogo puppy should hit 140 pounds. If I feed him this first year dry dog food with all of the chemicals that are in dry dog food and the growth hormones and the added proteins, what I'm going to do is grow him faster than God intended, which then is going to lead to hip problems, knee problems, weight problems. You see what I'm saying? Like a lot of the health problems that your dog is having right now, it's because of dry dog food. Is it your fault? No. Like, you didn't know. I didn't know. But now that I do know, I can't unknow it. So at least the first year of his life, I'm going to do my darndest, guys, to produce enough food here at Starkey Farmstead to feed this huge puppy a raw food diet. I'm going to do my darndest to keep Hammer completely on a raw food diet because I never want to see my beautiful, well-trained German Shepherd get sick like that again. Like that was scary. It was heartbreaking. I have no understanding. I told my son, it could be a genetic thing. Sometimes that just happens. But when he was eating better, he was able to fight it off. And when he went on a mainly dry food dog diet because mom just couldn't, all of a sudden his body didn't have the real vitamins, the real nutrients, the real digestible proteins that he needed, and he crashed. So I feel responsible to a point because Hammer's always been raised on blood, organ meats, especially organ meats, bones from rabbits. He's always been raised on that. And I think that is why we don't have any health problems with him. To be 3.5 years old and his genealogy is 75% registered German Shepherd from the working lines and a quarter Plot Hound. Knowing that, I mean, he looks like he is a registered German Shepherd. Like, people would not know if I didn't tell them. Knowing his genealogy, seeing the dogs that came before him, like, there's a chance that there was probably some close line breeding in his past, which means he would be at a higher risk for things like heart problems, breathing problems, hip problems, obesity, that kind of stuff. We don't have any of that in him. And it's honestly because he was given blood and organs when he was small enough that they would benefit him. So I hope that this helps you begin to just look into whether or not you need to raw food diet the animals on your farm. Okay, just like we're going beyond the pellet for our livestock, we're going beyond bagged dry food for our pets. We just want to give them the best life that we can give them here at Starkey Farmstead. And that means that's going to hit my pocketbook just a little bit while I work out at growing and raising enough meat for these large breed dogs. Very soon, I'm going to have 210 pounds of dog to feed daily raw food. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to meet that. I'm going to meet that demand, because if I'm going to have dogs, then I need to give them the very best that I can give them. That is training, that is a job, and that is the correct healthy food that they need. You'll be a lot more in-depth videos. I hope this one just helps you. And oh, tip of the day. If it says made in America or made in the USA, most of the product in that bag, and it was from the United States and it was manufactured here. If it says, ready for this? Processed or manufactured in the USA, I can guarantee you 90% of its ingredients came from overseas and they just pelleted it up here. So you need to be careful with labeling. They're tricking you guys. This is why our dogs don't live as long as they used to. This is why more and more dogs are having cancer. And guys, Americans are tough, all right? Our forefathers were tough. We need to go back to the old ways. Up into 30 years ago, nobody fed their dogs dry dog food. Like, that was like a rich people thing, okay? We fed our dogs leftovers, raw meat. If daddy went hunting, all the intestines went to the dog. You know what I'm talking about. You do. Dogs lived a really long time, and no one ever had to take their dog to the vet unless they were hit by a car or shot by some idiot. Like, our dogs just didn't need to go to vets. But look at them now. Just like humans, they're always at the vet. So we're going to figure this out together. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Share our videos. Thank you guys for rowing in our boat and letting us row in yours.